The title of my talk is not a disrespect to other Middle Eastern nations, but it is just an expression of a major fact. After the First World War, the winners of the war implemented a new order for the world, and based on that, they reshaped the geopolitics of the world, especially in the Middle East and Near East regions. The Ottoman Empire, that was on the loser side of the war, was disintegrated into several states. The British and French politicians decided to draw lines on the map and define new states. Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and from other side, Afghanistan, were formed after the war. After the Second World War, Libya, Algeria, Pakistan, and Israel were formed too. Most of these countries were created based on an international political treaty or agreement. In some cases, several tribes were forced to act united in order to get the image of a nation. In few cases, such as Saudi Arabia and Hashemi Jordan, the newborn country received the name of the ruler's family. Iran was totally different. A country that you cannot find an independence date for it because its existence goes back to the beginning of the history. Iranian identity and Iranians' awareness to that identity can be traced back to Shahnameh, Avesta, and Darius the Great's rock carving. Being Iranian has been recorded in the epic, secular history, and religious accounts, not only as a cultural and linguistical identity, but also as a political entity and a nation state. Iran can be identified and recognized in the 3rd century when Ardashir Babakan brought the name of Iran Shah on the Iranian coins. Since that time, Iranians have met all criteria which were defined for a nation. Nation was a term that was introduced in Europe in the 19th century. There are two schools when it comes to define a nation: the French or American school and the German school. Based on the French or American school, a nation is defined as a group of people who agree to live in an independent political unit and be managed by same government. Therefore, Iraqis, based on this definition, Canadians, Australians, and Americans are nations as Syrians, Libyans, and Iraqis. In the German school, nation is defined as a group of people with common cultural and historical roots who share traditions, rituals, and value system. Per that definition, only handful number of countries have genuine nations. Beside Iran, Korea, Japan, China, Ethiopia, Greece, Italy, and Germany are qualified as nations. We call them historical nations. For these historical nations, there is no natural driver from inside for disintegration, since the country has not been shaped by referendum, international treaty, or tribal agreements. The state has been formed as a natural phenomenon over the centuries. For these countries, territorial integrity and national sovereignty are not elements that can be negotiated, neither by political parties nor by demand of people of a province or region. Our region has been witnessing sectarian wars and intensive tensions within the countries. Houthis and Arab Sunnis in Yemen, Kurds, Arab Sunnis and Arab Shia in Iraq, Alawites, Kurds, Armenian and Arab Sunnis in Syria, Tajiks, Pashtuns, Hazara and Uzbeks in Afghanistan. Fortunately, not only today, but also over the long history of Iran, there is no single record of ethnic groups' battles and suppression. In our homeland, thousands and thousands died during the past 5 centuries for religious or political reasons, but nobody was persecuted for belonging to a particular ethnic group. The way that I want to wrap up this short article is we hear from there or here that, okay, in United Kingdom, Scots wanted independence and there was a referendum. Okay, in the referendum they decided to stay within United Kingdom. So why not such a formula, such an approach for Iran? The answer is very short and sweet. Scotland joined United Kingdom in the 17th century based on an agreement. It has nothing to do with human rights. It has nothing to do with justice. It was an agreement. Since a nation agreed to join another nation and a political unit as United Kingdom was formed in the 17th century, now after 3 centuries, 4 centuries, if they want to revise it, they've got the right to think about it and make a decision. And they perhaps decided to stay. Do we have any province in Iran that has joined Iran in 17th century based on an agreement, based on a signature, based on negotiation between some politicians? No. If in Canada, Quebec can ask for a referendum to stay or get separated from Canada, some people say, why we cannot do it in Iran? These people have no clue what is the history, how a nation has been formed. It's just the way to act monkey way and repeat what you hear about other nations which have come from totally different background. Canada is a country of immigrants. With all respect to Canada and all of their achievements, it's not a nation. It's a new nation based on definition of American and French school, not German school. And since they have moved from British background and from French background, now this is their right to decide to stay together or get separated. My message is, do not subscribe what you see in the West necessarily to our homeland. The stories are different, the backgrounds are different, the experiences are different. Therefore, when we hear these things, I hope we don't get impressed and we don't get excited, especially because of human rights, and say, why not? Yeah, we can have a referendum and see if half of Iranian people want to stay or they want to leave the country, Iran, or things like that. It's not applicable. If somebody shows me a single record in Iranian history that some group of people in Iran, an ethnic background, was suppressed because of being Baluch or Kurd or Chermani or Bandar Abbasi or Gilani, then perhaps my hands are up and I apologize for whatever I said in the past 7 minutes. People received hard time because of their religions, because of political beliefs, but nobody, even during the worst dictatorship in the past several centuries, was given very hard time because of being simply Kurd or Lur or Baluch or Fars or something else. So at the end, just my message is, when we say یک پارچگی ایران and یگانگی ملی, which is the territorial integrity and national unity, it's not just a slogan, it's a fact. It's something which has caused this country came together in a very long history. So let's be very careful and also exact when we refer to the international terms and try to apply those to our homeland, to our home country, Iran. Thank you very much.